My journey towards financial freedom has not been easy. I joined a debt relief program back in 2016. After mom passed, I realized that I needed to get my life back on track. I got a different job to make more money and decided to get my finances in order because I was in over my head. I had 5 credit cards, 2 of them were with credit unions. I almost fell out of my couch when I opened one of my monthly bills with one of the credit unions. For no reason, it jumped from $200 to almost $14 a month. I was like, what the heck? How am I going to afford that? Nuts, right? That's when I decided to take action. I immediately heard about this debt relief program on the Christian radio station and figured it was the Holy Spirit guiding my steps. I called them the same night and told them about my situation. They immediately assisted me and told me that in order to qualify, I needed to have at least $5,000 or higher in unsecured debt. I definitely had those qualifications. I owed about $40,000 with all 5 creditors. They advised for me to stop making payments to the creditors and set me up on a monthly installment plan of $600 a month, which drafted every 2 weeks from my checking account. I was making the same number of payments to the creditors each month, anyways, outside of the program. Then that money was deposited into a designated savings account each month. I paid them about $7 in maintenance fees and $12 for the lawyer group that would assist me if any of the creditors decided to sue me while on the program. They told me not to worry about being sued, that it was only like 10% of the people that experienced this while enrolled in the program, and that more likely it would not happen to me. I'm not going to lie, that was a scary thought, but I decided to take the plunge. I was super happy when I got the first notification in about 6 months into the program that they were able to negotiate with one of the creditors. They started negotiating with the lowest amount that I owed and worked up from there. The negotiations are about 75% of what you owe each creditor. The program then charges about 20 to 25% of the amount that is negotiated. The first 3 creditors were very easy to negotiate because the debt was with regular banks. The more you save in your designated savings account, the easier it is for them to negotiate each debt with each creditor. I was able to close out these 3 credit cards in 2 years. The last 2 biggest balance accounts with the credit unions were super hard to negotiate. Almost 2 years went by and the debt relief company could not get to negotiate. I would call the debt relief company every few months to inquire on both accounts, and they would let me know that they were aggressively negotiating with each creditor, but that they could not come to any type of agreement. They told me to be patient and to continue depositing $600 a month to the designated account so I could continue to save more money. The more funds that you have in the designated savings account, the easier it is to negotiate each debt. I just kept on depositing into the designated savings account, praying that a settlement would come soon with each creditor. According to me, I would settle on the smaller of the 2 accounts first in 2020, which then would leave me with the last and biggest debt of about $19,000. I was surely confident that I would be able to be debt-free soon and enjoy financial freedom finally. But then everything took a very bad turn. The unforeseeable came true, a true nightmare. One of the most nerve-wracking experiences in my life. I'd come home one night and I went to get the mail. Mind you, I'm not one to care much about picking up the mail because it's always some type of bill that one owes in there. But this night was different. For some reason, something told me to go get the mail. Then I started looking through the different envelopes, mostly solicitors, and I came across this envelope with the words urgent on it, with all red letters addressed to me. It immediately caught my attention and I opened it. And I'm never going to forget this date, October 25th, 2019. When I pulled the letter out, it said that I had a lawsuit against me. They gave a case number and everything. I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. I told myself, this can't be legit. It's not a court document. It looked like a solicitor. The feeling of unease was still there, so I immediately checked the case number online and I confirmed my fear. One of the creditors was suing me. I then immediately called the debt relief company that had been helping settle my debt. I spoke to one of the CSRs and he told me not to worry. He said, you will be getting served soon, and once you have those court papers, to send them immediately to the legal group that I had with the program. I was freaking out. I had to go through each day wondering when I was going to be served. I finally got served at my home a few days later after I had found I had been sued online. The court date was at the end of the month in January 2020. I contacted the legal group and they sent me specific instructions on how things were going to be handled with deadlines I had to meet. Usually my responses were required within 24 to 48 hours. Mind you, dealing with a legal case has time-sensitive documents that need to be submitted immediately, especially the response to a lawsuit as a defendant. It must be done within 15 days of being served. This is why it's very important to seek some type of legal guidance and aid. It's not advisable to do it all on your own. It's a lot to deal with, even with having a lawyer. Believe me, it wasn't fun. A couple of weeks passed by and then I got served again. The second credit union with the biggest balance decided to sue me too. Now I had 2 lawsuits I had to deal with, both court dates in January too, just a few weeks away from each other. I felt like I was going nuts. This is when I posted on Facebook a prayer request to all my prayer warriors, friends and family. I was definitely under attack, but we all know what we have to do as Christians once we are under attack. We must run to the Lord. This I have learned through the hardest and most challenging times in my life. I had so many people reach out to me, both friends and family, for that, and for that I am forever grateful. May the Lord bless all of you for supporting me and being by my side through all this. Love you all. My dad, boyfriend, sister, and me were super supportive. I wouldn't have been able to surpass all of this without their ongoing love and support as well. Long story short, through lots of prayer and faith, both lawsuits have been dismissed. Thank you, Jesus. Settlements were agreed with both creditors. One took a lump sum, and the other one waived the ridiculous attorney fees and interest that they claimed I owed, totaling over $11,000, plus the amount I still owe them. I will be making monthly installments until I pay them off. I learned through this lawsuit process that creditors have an insurance that covers them when a consumer doesn't pay their debts. The creditor is paid in full by the insurance company, and the debt is sold for pennies on the dollar to shark debt collector companies and attorneys. These are the wicked people that then attack innocent people like you and me with a lawsuit. They bought the debt for a few $100 and then want to sue you for thousands. The whole system is crooked. Be wary. This entire situation has definitely changed me. I am going to be smart when it comes to managing my money. My goal is to be debt-free by May 2022. I have to budget my money a lot better going forward. No extra spending, just targeting the last creditor. I also learned that you can't judge people by their circumstances. Everyone has a story. I know some people will judge and say, well, he or she got themselves into debt, and now they must be responsible and pay their debt off. But if it were this simple, none of us would end up in these type of situations. Things happen in life that are out of our control. We can be unemployed at any given point in time. We can get sick or care for a family member that is sick as well. Different family situations. Falling into the trap of getting an education and student loans. Please do your research before you get a loan for anything. Keep in mind that just because you get an education, that doesn't guarantee success in life. Don't fall for the traps and fake dreams society tries to sell us. Open your eyes. Be smarter. Research. In this day and age, with so much information available to us at our fingertips, it's easier to make wiser choices. I am sharing my testimony so it serves as a blessing to anyone going through something similar. It is our duty as Christians to guide our fellow brothers and sisters with our experiences. This is God's plan and purpose for our lives. Thank you for listening to my financial journey. Much love and blessings.
Wow, so very powerful, so very touching, Anna, and
Thank you.
especially just the whole, like your whole heart to want to serve and want to, your whole desire to want to use, that challenging experience to help to comfort and to guide others who are in similar situations. And there's so many people that are in similar situations. I have a few follow-up questions for you.
Sure.
Number one would be this. So I think one of the things that is so sad that I see is a lot of people struggle with shame when it comes to financial difficulties, right? Because, in our society, it's like, a lot of people fall into that mindset that their self-worth is tied to their finances. And so when they go through financial problems, there are a lot of people that just feel a sense of shame. What would you say to people who are struggling with the shame of financial difficulties?
Well, I think the best thing is to, talk to other people. Like I said, we have technology at our fingertips. And what has helped me a lot is Dave Ramsey. I follow him on YouTube and he's just amazing. Just having a good support system. That way you don't feel shameful and you can actually relate to other people that are experiencing the same thing. I think that's very important. And also, relying on your friends and family because you have to have a good group of family members and friends that will always keep you on check and listen to you even though sometimes we make dumb decisions, call you out on it, but at the same time let you know that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So
Mm.
that's basically what my advice would be for people that are struggling with shame. There's nothing to be ashamed about. I mean, in life, sometimes you're, at a pivotal, you're all the way up. And then all of a sudden, especially now with the pandemic, so many business owners have lost their businesses. So, it's, you can go up and down. So you should never be ashamed of your financial situation because you never know. I mean, it could happen to anyone.
Excellent point. And I think about how, yeah, you mentioned about how it can happen to anyone, and there's this sense of blame, but as you mentioned, anyone can just fall into different circumstances that can lead them into financial difficulty. Can you kind of talk more about the circumstances that led you into those difficulties?
Absolutely. So in 2010, when the market pretty much crashed, like the housing market crashed, I lost my job. I was working in a pretty reputable firm in Bethesda, Maryland. I was an accounts payable manager. Life couldn't have gotten better financially. I was making at least $55,000 a year with an additional $2,000 bonus every year as well. And then the company just decided to move. They were just like, we can't pay these high costs in rent, so we're just moving to Texas. They did offer to relocate all of us, but I had just bought my home, so therefore I was just like, I can't make that decision right now. I did go and I trained, the group down there, but I was just, it wasn't a good decision for me to make at that point to move to another state because I was helping my family. My sister actually, was a pregnant young teenager, and so therefore she needed my support, and so did my family. So I was just like, no, I can't make that move. So therefore, I was unemployed. I stayed with the company until the end, and they did offer us a severance package, which was, pretty good. It was 14 weeks of paid severance, and then we did have the option of filing for unemployment, of course. But as we all know, unemployment is not that much, so you really can't live off of that, especially in this state where everything is so expensive. So I was unemployed for a whole year. It was a struggle, and I'm still like to this day and age, I just feel like getting a new job is challenging. Things have definitely changed. The market is not what it used to be. So that could happen to anyone, especially now with the pandemic. Again, as I stated, there's a lot of scarcity as far as jobs. There's so many people unemployed, and they're all like trying to get a job, so that makes it very difficult. So I had to live off my credit cards. I had a new mortgage. That's the only way to survive until I finally got a job. I was making, like I said, I was making 55,000 a year. I went down to making $13 an hour. So, you do the math. So therefore I had to use my credit cards to do that. And therefore it just keeps on climbing up because you have that interest and the interest doesn't go down. So, and then the more credit cards you get, the more interest you have to pay. So it's pretty much just, puts you in that situation where you're just like, you're never going to get out of debt. They pretty much, like Dave Ramsey says, they pretty much own, they own you. So, you just have to be wise about, what you do. If you don't have the money for it, just, don't buy it or save up for it. And that's one of the reasons why I fell into debt. And then again, my mom got sick, as you know, in 2013, and, just medical bills, paying for her medicine, her nutrition. She needed a lot of foods for her to feel better. So again, you just use your credit cards to survive. So like I said, family illnesses, you can also fall into, your health can also fail at any given point in time. And therefore, That's when you use, other sources to be able to afford, because, healthcare in this country is a battle within itself. It's not cheap, and a lot of people don't even have healthcare, so that's a whole different situation. But yeah, all those situations lead you to getting in debt. Believe it or not, that's what happens. I mean, there's other people that, pretty much just like to live a wealthy lifestyle, live beyond their means. I mean, we all do, things that sometimes we don't think about, but that's basically my situation. So,
Yeah, yeah, wow. And in your story, you mentioned how one of the major turning points was when you were listening to Christian radio and you
right.
heard, was it like an advertisement kind of or
Yeah,
a
it
promotion?
was an advertisement, exactly. And I always feel like God speaks to you in different situations. Sometimes, you just have to listen. Sometimes we're hard at listening. And then that morning, for no apparent reason, I was just turning on the radio, and it so happened to land on the Christian station, and the commercial came up, and I was like, oh wow, I never thought about that. Let me go ahead and give it a chance. And that when I came back home and I saw that bill, I was just like, oh no, no, no. I was like, let me go ahead and give them a call and see if they can help me out. So that was
Wow.
a blessing in disguise.
Yes, yes. Now I know though that there are a lot of those companies that are scams, So what advice would you give to people regarding how they can kind of beware of the scams and really connect with the good reputable companies?
Again, do your research. If you have any doubts, just go online, go to the Better Business Bureau, read people's complaints, read people's reviews, and that way you can pretty much figure out if it's something you want to do. Also on Facebook, like I said, technology is at our fingertips. Use it to your advantage. Facebook also has a lot of groups. Freedom Debt Relief is a great company. I would not be where I am if it wasn't for them. So, you can go on Facebook, look up these companies, see what people are saying. 9 times out of 10, if you write a comment or, respond to you immediately and address your concerns, or just give them a call and see if you actually, like what they're saying. And like I said, just do your research. You have to be wise and do your research, ask other people, and that's basically what
Yeah.
I did.
That's awesome. So obviously, that company is something that you would definitely recommend
Yes.
others check out. And can you give us the website again?
It's www.freedomdebtrelief.com. They are on Facebook, like I said, and they also have the National Litigation Group, which is their law firm. And it's, like I said, it's just $12 a month, and it's wise for you to have it, because if you do get sued, like I did, I got sued twice. They're there for you, and you can contact them at any time. Basically, it's via email, or you can call them as well. So the attorney that assisted me, I actually wrote them a wonderful review. If it wasn't for them, they answered all my questions, all my concerns, and it was just an amazing experience. So
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, yeah, so it wasn't a situation where they were asking for a ton of money up front or anything. No,
absolutely not.
it was
No.
just that monthly charge, did you say?
Yeah, it was just $12 for the legal group, and then like seven other dollars just to be a part of the program. And then just you just save in that designated savings account every month. You just put whatever amount of money that they actually go over all your finances, and they see what actually you contribute to every month, and then that way you start building. And believe it or not, like before you know it, you have $1,000, $5,000. I also put my dad on that program. He's an elderly person, and who wants to be in debt when you're like 70 years old? I mean, that's the time you're retiring. You want to enjoy your life. You already put in all the work, and you just want to do things that you haven't done in your life. So I put him in that program as well. And right now he already paid like three credit cards. He's dealing with the biggest one, which is Bank of America, which like Dave Ramsey says, they're crooks. Like, you don't want to deal with that bank. But beside the point, so now he has like $7,000 building on it. He owes 15,000 to Bank of America. By the end of this year, he'll have like 12,000. So yeah, it really does work out. And then who doesn't want to be financially stable? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't owe anyone. You don't you just your money is going towards your future. And that's what we have to look for, especially when we get older. You know, when we retire, we definitely want to look into that and make sure we're financially secure.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I sense that you have really built up a lot of momentum, Anna, and as you're paying off debt, and as you see the progress, I imagine that that's so encouraging, huh?
It is definitely, it really is. And just like I actually don't have a car right now, but so I've been saving for it, and just with the stimulus money that we've been receiving, all that is going towards, my future car. Of course, it's not going to be anything like too fancy or crazy, but just something to get me to where I need to go, especially work. So, and I plan to pay that cash. Like, what better way to pay it that in cash? You don't have to pay interest. You don't owe anyone, and then it's your car, especially a car. It's a depreciated item that basically it's a piece of metal, like I say. That as soon as you take it off the lot, it depreciates. So why would you want to spend so much money on it? So yeah.
Yes, that's deep. Oh, that's so great. That is so great. And then you mentioned about support system, and obviously, one of the big blessings that we have is that we were born into good families, loving families. We have siblings and stuff and all that. But also, though, in addition to family, you also even mentioned about like church group and connecting with friends, even everything. So, what advice would you give to people who are lacking that type of support? I guess you mentioned about going online and trying to connect, and I guess maybe church would be another thing. But can you talk a little bit more about how you've been able to build such a great support system and to maintain it?
Yeah, I mean, church is number one. If, like I said, if it wasn't for you, you actually, took me to Church of the Redeemer, and I've been a member for so many years, and I love that church. And they're just very supportive. They do have different programs as far as financial, seminars, stuff like that. They had one where you invited me to, I think it was like 2 years ago before the pandemic, and it was Dave Ramsey's group. And I never thought I was gonna, meet with any of them. I would just basically see them online. So, church is a good place to start. If you're not a church goer, like I said, there's many groups, there's many support groups online that you can also join. And, just your friends that you grew up with, like, you're one of my dearest friends that I do have. And, you're always there, your support and all that means a lot, the world to me. And it's just having, good, solid people in your circle and your family, of course, as well.
Yes. Oh, that's so powerful, Anna. And likewise, you've been always been a great friend, Anna. I appreciate you as well. So that is great. That is great. So that's awesome, Anna. So you said that you have even been able to calculate when you're going to be debt free, right? And the estimate is May of
2022.
2022. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's awesome. And what would you say are your future financial goals after becoming debt free?
Yes, I definitely want to learn how to invest, how to, double my money. That's something I'm actually researching right now. Like I said, YouTube is amazing. I learned so many different things on there. Sometimes I've even done my own handiwork at home just by watching videos. It's just amazing. So, just basically that, learning how to invest, how to save for my retirement. My boyfriend and I decided, want to get married, of course, eventually. But we want to do that once we actually are debt free. Like, we don't want to owe anyone. We want to pay for our wedding cash as well. And then just pretty much concentrate on paying my property where I live. Hopefully I can refinance, pay it off in 15 years, and just be financially stable when we retire and just enjoy life and just help other people through the process, be generous, like Dave Ramsey says. We all go through different things, and if after the fact we end up better off, why not help other people that are struggling and going through the same thing? So those are basically my goals.
That's awesome. And in terms of careers, you've had, the different jobs. And in today's world, a lot of people are changing careers often. I'm even, changing kind of careers. I'm getting into the mortgage industry and stuff like that. And so with all the different options that are out there in terms of industries, so far, what do you feel you are drawn to in terms of a career industry?
I'm still trying to figure that out,
Which
believe it or
I,
not. I'm in the wrong industry. Obviously, I've been in this job for 5 years, and it's a blessing to be able to be working at this point. But it's just something that I do not enjoy doing. So I'm still trying to figure out, maybe get I don't know, a life coach or something to, help me figure out what I want to do next. Because that's something else that, you actually grow up with so many influences in your life and people telling you should do this and you should do that. And, you actually fall into that sometimes, not, sacrificing what you actually have a passion for, and therefore just to please other people, which is not wise either. So I'm still trying to figure it out, believe it or not.
yeah, yeah, and I'm kind of in the same situation too. I mean, there's so much, and everything, and I guess one of the things is to try to like taste different things and try to see if something that kind of resonates with us. So
Exactly.
that's
You always have to reinvent yourself in this life. I mean, you don't have to be a celebrity. Whenever you hear, like, people are like, I have to reinvent myself. It happens to all of us. Like, I'm in my 40s now, and, I never thought that this is the life that I would be living now. So it's just, with the pandemic, like, what better example to, have your eyes open and be like, nothing is forever.
mm.
So you do have to reinvent yourself. You do have to be willing to, have an open mind and just try new things and expand and grow as an individual, and basically, just live God's plan, what God has for us, whatever mission is next. You have to be open to it. So
Yes, love that, love that. Yeah. And so Anna, tell me this. I mean, so you're making progress with the financial plan and you're working and everything and everything. What would you say are there any hobbies that you have? Anything that kind of like helps you to kind of reset or kind of, take a break from all the grind, all the grinding you've been doing?
yeah, I'm a very family oriented person. So basically, just spending time with the family. Now with the pandemic, you're limited as far as what you can do. But sometimes we just go out and get something to eat. I'm a foodie. Like, I love food. One of my biggest things in my whole life was to be a chef, which I think that's my true passion, and I never got to it. So maybe owning a food truck when I retire or something like that. But yeah, so that's how I reset. Just spending time with my boyfriend, with my dad, and just doing fun things, checking out new restaurants. Going to church, or well, I'm not going right now. I'm basically online, but just listening to Pastor Dale. He's amazing. And other people as well, like, online, like Dave Ramsey. And I'm a YouTuber. I love watching YouTube videos that are informational, of course. And I've also gotten into the whole mukbang community. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's people that actually eat on video on YouTube. And they just try different restaurants and different things, which it wouldn't be a bad idea if I actually have been considering starting my own YouTube channel, which I don't know yet, but that might be something in the future.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I truly believe that every passion we have is a potential business. And so, yeah, that
absolutely.
sounds like an idea.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Anna, I thank you so much for your time and your transparency. It's very unique, and it shows that you really do care because you want to use your challenge as a vehicle to help others. And so that's so very inspiring and heartwarming, and you really are an awesome role model, of someone who has persevered through challenges, and everything. And so thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
this
I
interview.
appreciate you giving me this platform to, pretty much share my story. And, thank you for your ongoing support. And, you are one of the people that have been by my side cheering me on. So that means the world to me. And I couldn't have done it without you. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for having me and being able to share my journey with everyone.